And yes, there has been a time change for the start of the stream. Just looking at some of the stream health. Right. Hip frames due to lag. Okay. Hello all. Yes, time change. Moving things back 2 hours for the Saturday and Sunday streams. So I hope it is still a good time for you to be watching. I'm still just checking on here. Let me Alt tab around a bit. And we will, yeah, live. There we go. We're live. Yes. Just wanted to make sure we were live appropriately. Oh, and I need to move other thing over on top of the other ones. Hello, Ari. How you doing? Now, one thing we're playing a multiplayer game on Fridays, and being, I don't know if syndicated is right, but released in segments. That's definitely right. And we may actually have to go back a session or even two, because one thing that I don't know that we've done appropriately is mobilized the army. That's one thing that a lot of people with Black Ice that's really important here. And I don't know if Toyjet did that for Japan. Go to you can see Ace Generation, Air Superiority Mission, Attrition Division, Attack minus 80%. Go to Standing Army, Limited, and General Mobilization. Here. He did? Hello, Fumi Fat. How you doing? 99% sure that he went to general mobilization? Well, good if he did. Then it screwed up China. If he did all of that. Go through the different ones. We could go to Standing Army now, but we're not really fighting anything yet. Though we're letting Germany in this game, of course. Hey Arno, good to have you here. Because we're playing as Britain, so we don't get to delay things just because we want to, or we can when you're playing one of the Axis members. That's partially why I like playing the Axis, is that it's the driving force for the Second World War. Everybody else, including America, is reacting to it. The Soviets, the Americans, the French, the Chinese. Now, once they get in it, cool. From Thailand, very good. I really like to have people from the non-Western world watching and putting in. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing your name relatively well. So, just looking at our equipment here and trying to figure what we might need to produce. I know I'm really short in production of aircraft in my other game. So maybe that's what we should produce, is more fighters. And we'll do Supermarine Spitfires. Ah, Azads, good to have you here. Well, this is the current standard version. I know there's sort of like a work in progress version of. I don't know why we have two production lines of that, but oh well. I think I converted one and maybe shouldn't have. So I don't know which version of Black Ice you are playing. Okay. Modify government. We have lots of political power. We are... Let me just use this to look at the war. Okay, we'll get a... We're doing assault operations. Warfare, okay. Yep, they were, Ari. Which says a lot. I mean, China also avoids Western colonization. Yeah, I know Britain grabs up Hong Kong, Macau by the Portuguese long before, and there's little Western concessions there. Tsingtao up here, however you want to say it, because it's spelled different ways. Grabbed up by the Germans, and the French grab a little piece down here. So sure, there's little pinpricks to China, but are you leaving us? Fumi Fat? Okay. Uh-oh, well, maybe it's because it's from the torrent. I don't know. Now, we are seeing over here a bit of a... Well, I don't know, with this breakout here. Well, I have not put on battle... I have not bought Battle for the Bosphorus yet, so I don't know. I don't have any... So I have no suggestions. So I haven't installed it. I have whatever the free update part of the thing, so I don't know. These ads, I can't comment because I just not that I don't want to help, I just don't know. Yeah, well, it's November 38, and I forget exactly where Toy was in 38, and of course he does. The AI doesn't have the future access powers, and particularly Romania, helping him in combat. Though we are, the Germans are helping down here, I believe. Goodbye. Oh yeah, no, that was He's falling back. Yeah, the old-fashioned way. I think there's a bunch of sales going on. I don't know if it includes Battle for the Bosphorus yet. That's sort of what I'm waiting for. Just because I'm playing almost exclusively mods right now, and it's a very limited content change. Mm-hmm. Oh, like a G-Man? How you doing? I think that's how you break that up. Trying to think, what more with Britain should we be doing now here? We have a lot of political power. War propaganda at peace. War support less than 30. Okay, we may want to do that. I know it's in 38, so we have time, but still. Well, our stability is pretty good and going up. It's the war support. could see about giving some refugee. German scientists. Research speed. Base stability. We want to provide funds to the League of Nations. I'm doing quite well. Well, I always names that are either with no spaces or no capitalizations like Azad's Hind. I sort of get that anyways, but different. You're going monarchist UK? Well, we have a monarchy. We're going Winston Churchill government, which was conservative. No, he did go liberal for a while. Okay. Just sort of planning out what to do once I start the episode here. As you can see, we are 26% conservative, 53 monarchist. I'm not really sure other... See... Monarchist as an ideology when it comes to Britain, we'll record this. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4 Black Ice, and of course we're playing as Britain. Now, I've been asked by the stream, are we going monarchist for Britain? And we can see, well, we have George the 6th here as king, so he's monarch. And then we have Anthony Eden, who's conservative, who's giving daily conservative support. We have Churchill, who's a conservative politician. Daily conservative support, Samuel Haar. Mackenzie's conservative support. Neville Chamberlain's conservative support. We got Churchill, of course, very early in this game. I think maybe a bit too early, but Atkins, conservative. Government fundraising, he doesn't. Political advisor. Daily conservative support. There, political power gain, just silent workhorse. Daily conservative support here for Wallace, and monarchist support daily 0.07, pretty high for this guy here. And I don't know, most of those weren't. That's 7 for him. We're here. 0.2, 0.1, 0.1, or 0.1, or 0.01, yeah. Not saying that well. Well, I didn't quite do all the math on all those, but it looked like, because there was one that was 2% here, or daily liberal, daily democratic support, should balance him out. Now, what is, why is monarchist faction so popular? I don't know. Yeah, I know you're talking about the game, not in general. I get you. But what is monarchist in Britain? Isn't that at this time, in 1938, the Liberal and Conservative Party, both of those parties, Labor, I would also put monarchist. Now, are they saying it's supposed to be, anti-parliamentarian monarchist, meaning no parliament monarchy? Get rid of parliament entirely? Because the British monarchist tradition, even when you have conflicts with Charles I, Charles I isn't trying to get rid of Parliament. He's just fighting Parliament, a particular Parliament. Not that he's getting rid of Parliament. He's just fighting particular one. Now, of course, Parliament, especially by the time you get it under Oliver Cromwell, is trying to get rid of the monarchy. Nope, we just started. Should be pro-monarchy, anti-parliament. Yeah, and now, also in the context of Britain, and I don't know who's designed this thing. You might presume, I don't presume, because a lot of people design things for Germany that aren't German. You might presume that it's somebody British, but an somebody who's pro-monarchy, anti-parliament would not be supporting George VI. He would be supporting a restoration of the Stuart monarchy. Whoever they were thinking that would be at this point. Probably most consensus would be a guy, the King of Bavaria. But yeah, so that just doesn't really make sense in the context of Britain, where in France, monarchism comes in technically three flavors, but one is just sort of a split of one. It's either Bonapartism, supporting a Bonapartist emperor of France, but though it still is a monarchy, or it's supporting the Bourbons, and there's two Bourbon claimants. One is more directly bloodline linked to the last Bourbon king, but it's through a traitorous line who supported the French Revolution, I guess. And the other one is not through that. So I would disagree with that. Well, Mosley would be I think, an anti-monarchist. I don't know who Eddie 8 is, because I see Mosley as a fascist, which would not be what I would see. Charles had conflicts with Parliament for sure, and tried to arrest, and did so very badly in that he didn't arrest them, a few members of Parliament. So, it wasn't trying to get rid of the institution of Parliament. Yeah, the Legitimists and the Orleanist branches. Yeah. In game. Okay, yeah, I have not looked at the fascist leaders in this game. Oh, Edward the Eighth. Okay, I get you now. Reading up the chat. Oh, and I'm streaming both YouTube and Twitch, so whichever is best for anyone to watch the live stream on, you can do. And I'm getting this chat from both of them. So I can see how Edward VIII would be anti-parliament, and that they were the main instrument of sort of bringing him down, if you will. I am not satisfied. I am very not satisfied with the explanation that Edward VIII leaves his, abdicates, because he does abdicate. Although he had never been actually crowned, he had never gone through the formal crowning ceremony. There's some merch and stuff that was made way back then for the coronation, but it never happened. Wallace Simpson, the woman that he marries, is an American divorcee, and that was a bit upsetting to some people in Britain for sure. But looking at particularly the House of Hanover, there, as they do the name change to Saxe-Coburg Gotha once Victoria marries Albert, and then changes the name to Windsor after the start of the First World War to get away from a German name. But the House of Hanover, if you look at its sort of marital type history, marrying an American divorcee is a minor thing. So yeah, I think there's something else that they knew that was going on, and that hasn't come out yet. Try and send in mobile forces, tanks, and motorization to North Africa to kick Italy out. Well, yeah, Arno, we're going to see about that, but I think we're first. Well, I don't know. We're going to go with Monty as a battle operations director, theorist. Free press, export focus, foreign investment tolerated. Okay. Limited force integration is what we're currently doing. Advanced naval. Well, we want to escort efficiency. We definitely want to keep that. Just see that they're suggesting a change. Chief of the Navy. Naval aviation, convoy defense. I think that's what we want to do. Submarine detection. Yeah, we'll go pond. Okay, used up a lot of our political power there. Well, let's get the clock rolling. Well, the question is, are we going to, early on, are we going to try to defend France, or are we going to try to kick Italy out of North Africa? That's an interesting, because the Italy out of North Africa has some good merits to it. It is something, and do it so quickly. It is something that we could do, that, especially if we concentrate on it, we could do it. And be victorious there, where if we try to defend France, we're likely to lose anyways. I don't know how long France will. I figure it'll collapse. Um, but I really have not played this with the latest version of Black Ice, so I don't know. And looking here, why there's well, okay, you can be attacked from several provinces. Why there's three divisions here, that makes sense. Why there's three divisions back here, I don't quite get. And of course, if they don't defend along here, they're gonna die quickly. Yeah, that's another option that I've thought of doing, Arno. They're trying to defend Norway because I think Norway's defensible both historically and in game. Britain can maintain, especially for the north. In the south, German air power can rule a little too much, but up in the north, for sure, it is defensible. And when you still have France alive and with enough divisions, you could have easily pushed, I don't know, 3 or 4 French divisions along with some British up here. I think they could have held Norway if they do, but send troops. They maybe we'll see about that. Okay, fall of Nanjing, probably the second time it's happened. Yeah, they actually got Nanjing. This is the false Nanjing. Yeah, well, they were okay. You know, development in Canada, very good. I often say that people, because we often look at it from a how many tanks, how many soldiers, how good your general is, but warfare is a political act. It's politics. Just quickly mentioning politics, as I was watching something slightly before this, realized just to the world out there, so that you know, the American election is not over. We're still going through the election. Now it's sort of in the phase of going through the courts. So it's not over. I know a lot of people want to make you think. I'm not saying I think it's like going one person or another is going to win. No, it's not over, and there's congressional seats that are not just the presidency. There's congressional seats that are still haven't been decided. Some of those have gone to court. They're still fighting over who's going to win the latest American election. But politics is about perception. A lot of politics is perception, not just how many people got what votes, or and I'm thinking like in Britain or other places, who's supporting what parties and things like that. It's so warfare is a political act. Politics is about perception. Okay, now Britain tries to come in, or does come in and land around this area to try to deal with Germany. Well, this isn't going so well down here, where this ain't going so well up around Narvik for Germany. Britain's had some naval losses up here and some sort of out here a bit more. And Germany sneaks in a couple hundred soldiers across Sweden as sort of athletic tourists or something. They actually do that, and get some reinforcements up in here. But Britain has the upper hand materially in the numbers of soldiers, the amount of ammo, that kind of thing. I don't know that they have the upper hand in the mind of the commanders. Oh, yeah, it ain't over. Now I'm giving it about 80% chance, which is a strong majority, that it is going to be Biden, but it ain't over. Um, Well, I see this that so many cases are going. He's losing so many cases in court. Trump is. No, Trump isn't. Trump's just won a major one, or he's won, I think, 2 major ones yesterday. Now, there's a lot of Republicans. See, some Republicans are suing in Pennsylvania, other Republicans in Pennsylvania. And so a lot of the cases that have gone against, people say, against Trump, these are just other lawsuits that like I could file a lawsuit if I wanted to go file a lawsuit. Just hire a lawyer and file a lawsuit. Doesn't mean I have any good thing. So all the stuff that's going against, people say are going against Trump, are just against random guys. It's not against the Trump electoral campaign lawsuits. And there he's doing about 50-50 winning, losing. And that's just first case incident that it has to get to the U.S. Supreme Court to be final decision. So, well, you don't understand, AZs, and this is one thing that like British people don't understand because they have party unity. The party is controlled by a central thing. There is no central control of political parties in America. It's office holders, and there are there are committees that raise money. Just to sort of go, in Pennsylvania, here, they changed the law for mail-in voting, and which they ran the current election under. So there's one set of Republican lawmakers that are maybe thinking about doing one thing, but since they changed the law about mail-in voting, the Pennsylvania Constitution sets the laws for mail-in voting, and they didn't change the Constitution. So what they supposedly might, in U.S. time, 11 p.m. last night, a judge ruled, legislatures, you changed the law, but you didn't change the Constitution that says what it's supposed to be. You just passed a law. This law is probably unconstitutional that they did the mail-in voting under. So, because we are a constitutional republic. So there's Republic, and it was the Republican legislature last year that passed the laws, but the laws didn't change. Wasn't a constitutional change. It was a law passed. And so, you didn't change the Constitution, so the mail-in voting was unconstitutional. So some of these Republicans because the Republicans changed it, and some Republicans are suing, and it's one of the defendants are the Republican legislature on it. So the Republicans are suing the Republicans, as it were. And so the judge is going, this is like unconstitutional. Now, I'm not sure what we're going to do, whether it's to throw out all mail-in voting, which would mean Trump wins, because the in-person voting Trump won, or because the mail-in voting is unconstitutional, or is it just to say nobody gets votes from Pennsylvania this year, so that means those electoral votes are no longer in play? Or is it that instead of who won the popular election, is it the legislature gets to pick this year, which is controlled by the Republicans, so Trump wins? So right now I have no idea what's going to happen in Pennsylvania. Now it could be that this is all the votes are nullified, no votes for Trump, and Biden still wins, in Pennsylvania. I mean, Biden still wins overall. I'm not saying Trump's going to win this. Not saying that at all. But they're fighting out what's happening in the state of Pennsylvania. It's screwy. People who just get a little bit of information, and particularly people overseas, the election's over. Nope, it ain't. It's still being fought over. And in 2016, I think it was I think December 16th that they finalized the elections Okay, well, it isn't December yet. In for Pennsylvania, December 16th. So this isn't unusual. It just normally isn't as critical. Ah, you're talking about the different constitutions, Wargay. There's the federal constitution, the United States Constitution. Then there's the Constitution of Pennsylvania. And I'm talking about the Constitution of Pennsylvania. And the Constitution of Pennsylvania, to be changed, to make a change in the Constitution of Pennsylvania, you must pass the change for the Constitution twice in two different legislature sessions. So meaning one set of people get to vote, legislatures. We want to change the Constitution. Okay, good. We want to change it. Okay, now go have an election, popular election. And then the next set of legislatures can be the same people, but, go through a standard every 2-year election. Get the new people elected, or people get reelected, and then pass the same law again. That's required because you have to have that sort of popular vote in there to change the Constitution. Well, that means it takes a minimum of 2 years, and that would be, practically it's more 4 years or about to change the Constitution in Pennsylvania. None of that was done. They just passed laws. So you were talking, this is just the Pennsylvania Constitution, and I don't know. I'm just the thing I was watching earlier. I don't know the Constitution of Pennsylvania. I'm not from there, never been there, never studied it, didn't know that. And each state can have its own constitution so long as that constitution doesn't violate the national constitution, like they found that, slavery violated the national constitution, and separate but equal, like schools for, based on race, is unconstitutional. So long as the laws are not unconstitutional, the states can do whatever they want. And you're right that the legislature in some states can just now pass laws that change things. So it goes state by state, how it's set up. And supposedly in Pennsylvania, voting, what is required for voting and like for absentee ballot, which is a type of mail-in voting, not all mail-in voting is the same, but absentee ballots and what's required for them is set in their constitution in Pennsylvania, where in other states it's not. So it goes state by state, and no one person can really keep track of each state, all the details. So this is, politics, and yeah, I know, I'll get back to it. Thanks, Arno. No, they can't. Elections are not, they're not, you can't do early elections. This is why if they find too many irregularities, see, like the national elections for the president, Congress, Senate are set in the Constitution. You can, for House representatives, do special elections, but not for senators. So if somebody like dies or gives up his senatorial office, like to become a Secretary of Defense or Secretary of State or whatever, and so an open Senate seat, then the governor of that state gets to appoint the senator, because you don't get special elections for senators. You don't get special elections for presidents. For legislatural overall sessions, and so unless a seat is vacant. So I guess theoretically, if every single legislature person wishes to resign his office, and then, but I don't even know if that would count, because they say it's legislative sessions. The two of them have two legislatural sessions, and legislatural sessions, at least in most states, are every 2 years. You have a session. That's how long you're elected for. So it doesn't say two legislatural sessions. So yeah, you don't get to do snap or early elections in America. So like if you find, so theoretically, if Biden and Harris were riding in a car together and they have a car accident and they both die, we can't do a do-over election now because it's already happened. It would go to Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. She'd be the next president. It wouldn't be Trump. It would be Nancy Pelosi. So you can't, and we can't have a new national election. She would just be it. Now there's ways to remove her from president, but it gets complicated. So yeah, it ain't just like, hey, we want to do more stuff. And so warfare is a political act. That's where we sort of got off on this. And with particularly Norway being lost and the battles down here not going well for the Anglo-French invasion of Norway, because that's sort of what it was, they decided to fully pull out. And the perception, both in the military mind of the commander up here, for the British wasn't going well. Dietl, I'm impressed by Dietl, the German general commanding up there. He was in very much an inferior position, but was being very aggressive with a very mixed lot of soldiers, which included a bunch of just sailors off ships that got sunk. That most ships carry enough rifles and pistols, to arm the whole crew up. Well, I know some of the ships got sunk. I don't know, because some of the ships got sort of sunk and they, the captains got them aground instead of them, going under the ocean. They were sort of sunk in harbor or along the coast that they were hitting were sinking and they got ashore. But I also think that because there were German destroyers that were, coming into port delivering troops and supplies, I think they just pulled the guns off of some of the ones that weren't sunk to give the sailors rifles and such. And at least in the American armed forces, all sailors know how to go through basic rifle training and know how to shoot a rifle and do some very basic stuff. But that doesn't mean they're infantry soldiers. They're just, guys who know what to do, know which end the bullets come out, know how to function, have some basic stuff like that. So I presume, again, I don't know, but I presume that's the case in the German Navy at the time. So yeah, he has this really mixed force of not all very good troops. And there was, I think it was about like 200. They got 200 unarmed Germans that, had sort of civilian passports up into Sweden and got them, up to the border and then, jumped across the border and quickly found some uniforms or something and were fighting, reinforcements for Dietl sent across Sweden as tourists or something at the time. But he's doing really good. But it was so holdable. Britain could have withdrew its forces from down here and relanded them up here, and held. I think, and with the distance, yeah, you can build some quick use airbase fields. All you need is a flat enough piece of earth, and I know it's mountainous here, but you could do some stuff like that to get some air operations over here. And they were, I think, mostly at night, or I don't know, but they were flying in some supplies, but there really wasn't German air control over here. Yeah, like I say, you can get some aircraft up here, but that doesn't mean that they're well maintained, because you got to do aircraft maintenance, rearming, refueling. How much can you do from improvised airfields while the British are operating more successfully up here? I think they could have defeated Dietl and held the north of Norway. Now the Germans might have been enough need to invade Sweden to get that, but that would have been a different thing. Yeah, the swordfish they were using there. I think they were Hurricanes. I don't know from what air base they were operating, land base they were operating, the British were operating. I think it was Hurricanes and not Spitfires, but I'm not absolutely sure on that, but just most likely Hurricanes. That when they were evacuating, either it was from here or it was from down here, but it was, you know, they were land based that had been brought ashore. That contrary to orders, because they were ordered to destroy them, they took them off and successfully landed them on the carrier. Now, these are without tail hooks. So they were able to get in, and it was not that it was going to be dangerous and like sink the aircraft carrier, but you got to realize they're not naval aircraft, so the wings don't fold up, so they can't, like, I don't think, well, I don't know for sure if they could go down on the elevator, but there was no room in the aircraft hangar below the below the flight deck. So they were landing them on the flight deck and getting them to the far end without crashing into other. So because again, you got to picture this. You got a very small flight deck. You got an aircraft coming in without a tail hook to catch the arresting wires. And so if you don't slow down enough, you're going to pile into other aircraft that are already on the deck. So you have to do this. And at this point, Britain just wants, because this would be before the actual, I think, fall of France, but because this is sort of going on the same time as the main invasion of France, they just want the good pilots out alive and safe, and not to have fires on board the one aircraft carrier. Doesn't mean they're going to sink it just because a couple aircraft get on fire or anything like that. It wasn't that dangerous to the ship, but the ship's captain is all on land your land-based fighters on our aircraft carrier, but they get out. I don't know, it's like 10 or so fighters that they still had operational, that they were able to land on the carrier deck and get them back to England. So Britain could have held up there. That's now, should it have? Yeah, probably, but. Okay, we want to get this, so we need to develop New Zealand is the next one. Well, we need to get to New Zealand, so Australia is the next one, so we're going to do that. We want both our Commonwealth to do it. Yeah, the Spitfires were like a fighter commanded back in Britain. I don't think they were operating from in France even. Or were they in France? I'm not sure. Assault operations. Very good. Okay. And so we now have one leader, which helps us for research here a little bit. Yeah, I read that story a few years ago now, so I'm sure I have some details wrong. But always check up on all of my stories and whatnot, because although I do research things, so I think I'm pretty good with historical accuracy, I know I'm making mistakes. Okay, so we're going to go with 3 factories of Spitfires right now. Unassigned divisions, yes, okay. Gibraltar garrison, let's see, okay. We're giving these to our sort of Mediterranean command general. Okay, so they were in France. Cool, yeah, Cavalry Brigade, I haven't decided what I want to do with him yet. British troops in Aden. We can give that. He's Africa Command, I think. Yeah, we can give that to Africa. It's close enough to Africa. It's best to have the divisions under somebody. Okay, well, that you see, getting to. Yeah. I don't know if we need to really hold out there or there, but okay. What is Falklands Island Defense Force looks like? Okay. That's way over strength. Hey, thanks for following. That's way over strength if you've ever seen what Saint Helena looks like. Yeah, okay. Well, we don't need to worry about those so much. Britain was rather worried about the technical aspects of Spitfire getting out and realizing that Spitfire was their best fighter and wanting to save it to defend Britain. And the Hawker Hurricane was pretty damn good. So it might not have been their first-rate best. Yeah, we could do that. Best fighters, but they were reasonably good. And they got updated over time, like all the major fighters, including things like the Mustang. So, how good they are is, yeah, their stats, if you will, is a specific fact, but it's relatively speaking to other nations. Okay, I know this is all happening as okay. It's auto, but I want to specify some ports here so that I separate them out and can be better. No, I didn't want that. I really sort of hate that when I do this. If I click just the wrong little bit. You see, click. I'm trying to miss there and got there. Okay, that worked. That worked. Okay. There we go. I think that's all of our submarines. Now, let's put our two Nelson class. We'll put them up here on the Clyde Bank, probably where they would be built. They were building ships in other parts of Britain, but this was the major naval base. Yeah, those are just build one, and yeah, we'll put the Ark Royal class aircraft carrier that we're building there. Now with the destroyers, we're going to run as convoy, set up for convoy protection. Put them out of Cardiff here. No, auto. There we go. Not that they really would have been built there, but that's where I want them to show up. So, okay. Now let's, create a new task force. All submarines. Okay. We're going to select all submarines. Well, where, chat, should we do our first main? Because we're doing, which Britain did do some, but was not a major focus of their submarine warfare, but we're doing naval mine laying submarines. Should we try to lay mines up here before Germany gets Norway at the Skagerrak? So I think we should be able to get through. Navies can pass, neutral, permit. Contested submarines can pass. Once enemy possession, both sides, submarine can't. So we could fill this area with naval mines early in the war. Or we could start putting mines down here, or do we want to split them up? Well, I'm going to keep most of my ships out of the North Sea, I think. I hear you on AA cruisers, but I think so. Hey, Toy Jet. Hey, Toy Jet. Do you know on our multiplayer game, did you ever fully mobilize, because that was a question that's brought up, fully mobilize and coming in here to general mobilization level, Japan's army? Or is it still back at, yeah, you did that? Okay. So now I haven't done that for Germany now. I just defeated Poland quickly. That wasn't an issue. I don't remember whether we were at standing or reserve. Hello, Niels. Toy Jet says better than the... And he's a beluga. He should know about how to do mines. Okay, well, let's select this. We're going to create a new task force. I think we're going to... let's do 10. 10. We're going to select 10. We're going to put them up here in Hull, I think. And we're going to come back down here and get these other 24. Fairly large number. I think enough to be effective. I got lots of naval. Good. Blockade runner. Blockade runner is pretty good for... No, I just want to assign you. That's it. Okay. You can come down here. Let's see if we can base you out of Alexandria. Landmines up here. We do have a couple of British. Well, 3. A few. Hey, Nagaro. Yes, you can watch on either service. Whichever one is best for you. Okay, so we have a carrier. We don't have enough. We can't... I know you can specify. Types of airplanes. Capacity, we're at 32 out of 35 possible. Okay. Not exactly a balanced fleet. Let's... Okay, some heavy cruisers and destroyers. Submarine flotilla with a bunch of different submarines. Coastal, regular, and what are SC? I don't know. Fleet, submarine, and coastal. Okay. Reserve fleet, channel force. Right. They actually have more planes than they're allowed. I didn't know you could do that. Well, this would be home fleet up here. Okay, so we could put a northern patrol out to sort of patrol out to here. With home fleet ready to intercept an invasion. Okay, I think what we're going to do here is we're going to move you up to here. You're going to go join home fleet. Concentrate our carriers a little bit. Now that leaves these guys here, which we have some mine laying ability. Now they're CLs, so they're going to be subject to air attack, of course. So I don't know whether it's the Bay of Biscay or somewhere, but I think we're going to move these forces over here. We'll move them out to Cardiff. Bristol is getting a little small of a port for stuff. Use them about... Yeah, that's a good idea, Arno, but right now, quite honestly, he's suggesting heavy fighters if you Didn't read. I don't know that I have enough. I mean, I got multi-role fighters 90, you know, that aren't currently in squadrons, and Spitfires 61, or maybe some older fighters that have been replaced by Spitfires, as they are. So I just don't know that I have the luxury of building more, and I should probably build more. I think I have one factory in production of carrier airplanes, or carrier bombers, yeah, and some carrier fighters, which are way out of date, at least in my mind, for a fighter. Like the swordfish that the British used as a naval bomber, torpedo bomber, those actually were fairly decent, but they get shot down easy from proper fighter. Okay, all purpose. Well, decryption power, 100 days. We already have basic radar. Yeah, we'll do that. No, good suggestion. I'm taking it seriously, Arno, because it is a good suggestion. We're just still peacetime Britain. Thanks, Nils. I don't know if we're going to get to Carnage action today. We're, you know, they're fighting it out in Spain, but no, I'm not going to send an expeditionary force. And they're fighting it out in China. Well, we know what can happen with China here and screwing us. Okay. With each passing day, Royalists grow even stronger than before, sensing that they have gained the most support. Royalists are now calling for a referendum to decide the future of the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, they are likely right that they would win with such a rush, but to deny them would enrage them and possibly lead to more violent referendum on the nation itself. Alternatively, we could take some more aggressive measures to deal with the problem before it grows off of hand. Okay, well, oh boy, I don't like this. He just has way too much monarchist support. I was looking more for the political power gain. Okay, do we have somebody here who will give us propaganda? Sorry, I don't want to. Daily conservative support, okay. Well, that'll help a little bit with this thing. Okay, well. Base stability down 10%, which we can afford that, I think, because we have 82% stability for 365 days. That's what we're going to do. But we've gotten rid of one guy who was pushing hardest for monarchy. Yeah, I don't think George VI would be going, yay, monarchy, monarchy, absolute monarchy. Because that's how they're defining it. maybe a few of the staunchest Stuart supporters during the English Civil War period would have been for absolute monarchy, but I don't see it at this time period as anything realistic. I think moderator needs to tell Ari that things are supposed to be in English here. Moderator Ari. Good, Beam Slam. How you doing? No, absolute monarchy. Okay, I'm for good governance. Now, one key element of what I just said was governance, which is different than rule. If you go back to, say, the Middle Ages, which is not as dark as the Dark Ages, but the Dark Ages for sure, I would say probably the Middle Ages, and only starting to come out of it in the Renaissance, is a post-apocalyptic world. I don't think we see it clearly enough in those terms, because, you know, we see modern day post-apocalyptic movies now are mostly in zombie movies. People in my growing up and youthful days, we saw the Soviet Union as a major threat, and the it would be a nuclear apocalypse. So people would be wandering, you know, radioactive wastelands and whatnot. Where nowadays you see the monster movies and some very popular series, you know, they're zombies, you know, and that's the threat that we think is most likely. You know, you go, zombies aren't likely. No, they're very likely. Now they're going to be the Walking Dead, in that what we fear is not that they're actually somebody whose like heart stopped and died. It's like, hey, you know, like Ebola is spreading throughout the world, and so people are going to die, or people who have COVID and they don't know it and they're wandering around coughing in other people's faces, and these people with COVID are going to die. They're dying, but they're going to spread this death around. So it's zombies, you know, is what we fear, is how I would describe it. Very much so. Zombies are what we fear, not, you know, the literal dead that are walking around trying to eat your brains or something, or some juju zombies from, you know, Haiti. But that sort of sick type person that is infecting other people and such, and that's what I think we fear. Now, how do I get you best into... Okay, let me see if we can select both of those. That's probably what I want to do. And well, there's a CVL. Yeah, I'll still put a CVL in there. Well, cool, Harry. And so, yeah. How did we get on zombies? I don't know. I don't know how we got on zombies. Well, let's continue. Don't worry, I'm just losing it a bit. My mind, that is. And let's come up here and select that, and then select that, and merge. There we go. So now we have a 2 carrier group up here. And we have more factories. Okay, well. we can place more radars, which will get us more looks in around the world. Oh, pause. Hunter-killer tactics, we'll look at that in a moment. Okay, well, I think we will do a Sussex radar. That looks like a good plan. And maybe a Cornwall radar? Hopefully these will build fairly fast. Now, I may be crazy, but I think we can hold Malta, so let's put a radar down there. I don't know that the British... Don't know, did the British have radar station in Malta by the time the war was getting going? Okay. We were in... here, I think we just... Fleet in being, is that what? Or were we doing trade convoys, probably? I'm not sure. Some of these are mutually exclusive and some of these are supportive. Mine warfare. I'm doing a lot of that too. I like that. I'm gonna do that. Well, that's, if you don't know, zombies come from a, the term at least, from a, what we fear. Oh, I remember how, because we looked at the Middle Ages. Oh, and governorship. Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm losing it, aren't I, guys? Zombies come from sort of Haitian voodoo type traditions. That's, at least the word comes from there. And some sort of living dead type person. But the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, they were a post-apocalyptic world. And that was a brutal, short, nasty place to live. And yes, you need people to rule. That's how we got there. Where I believe in governance is more appropriate than rule. Rule is something like you see in the Soviet Union, fascist Italy, Nazi Germany, places like that, in which you have rule. Someone is commanding. We are going to build this big super monument or bridge or whatever, nationally organize things up and really push by force, by rule. Where I believe in good governance, which governs activities. It gives a framework in which human activity happens. Now, the government can encourage activities such as colonization or whatnot. And I guess the difference would be is if a king or anybody, a dictator, or even a parliament, because parliaments did this, is going, we will colonize North America, earlier on. Okay, we're going to round up a bunch of citizens and force you to go colonize someplace out here. I'm against that. Now, there is penal colonies, and you get chosen for that, by being convicted of crimes and sent out there. That's different, because you're picking the people out by, you did something bad. Well, your punishment is to go to Georgia and be in a penal colony, go to Australia and be in a penal colony. That's a bit different. But I'm for the idea of governance. Hey, we're going to set up some colonies out here, and we're going to give incentives to go out to wherever. Or, you people want to wear silly clothing different than our silly clothing. You want to go form your own colony? Okay, sure. You can go, set up your colony somewhere. So the difference between governing and ruling, that's how we got there. And so once you get into more stable, developed cultural, governmental situations, you're no longer in a post-apocalyptic world. I believe in governance. Now, an absolute monarch can govern well. But because they're absolute monarchs, one, there's a human temptation, the old old saying, it goes way back. I think it was one of, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, or whatever. So, yeah, if you're an absolute monarchy, even if you got a good guy ruling in there, governing in there, shall we say, then that absolute power can corrupt him. Even I'm not saying he turns evil. It just becomes a corrupting influence. Now, there's another group of people that say the libertarians. Their goal is to take over the world, become the absolute rulers, and then leave everybody alone. So, tell nobody what to do, and just make sure nobody else becomes rulers, because they would then tell somebody what to do. Just sort of become president or emperor of the world, and then go, oh, have fun, everybody. I'm the emperor. No one can tell anybody what to do. Only I can tell you what to do, and I'm not going to tell anybody to do anything. And so, they want to take over the world and then do nothing. Let everybody just be peaceful and happy. Yeah, if the human condition would allow that, fine. But that's not the way humans behave, or so far our tradition. Yeah, came over. Yes, absolutely. Beam slam. When I say Haitian, and it definitely is, but the Haitian, to get on other topics, the voodoo beliefs, which aren't purely located in Haiti for sure, but are strongest in the Franco African colonies for some reason, and much less strong, and particularly not strong in places like Jamaica. But I think in some of these Franco colonies over here, slave colonies, and in Louisiana, which has French slaves holding traditions, it gets spread. So it's some weird sort of mixture. I don't know whether it's like a particular African belief that gets into Haiti, and then with the transfer of slaves around the region from Haiti or whatnot, mixed with some sort of Catholicism and other beliefs, you come up with the voodoo beliefs and all that. And it's a religion, but it has its roots, I believe, in Africa, though it's mixed with Franco Catholicism and other sorts of things that go there. So I believe in good governance. Absolute monarchs, you can get good ones for the situation, but I'm not going to trust in that. Now, a monarchy that has checks and balances, shall we call it a constitutional monarchy, and Britain has a form of that, though they don't have they go, yeah, we have a written constitution. It's all these laws that Parliament passed and the king has signed. Yeah, that's not really what we mean by a constitution. It is a body of laws that govern both the citizens' behavior and the behavior of the government towards the citizens and whatnot. Yeah, so it is a written document, but it's changeable at the whims of Parliament. And there is no, other than the king or the monarch, and even there it's gotten down, so there's really no checks on parliamentary rule in Britain, I would say, in the modern day sense. So yeah, there are legalities that they have to pay attention to for sure. But so yeah, I think if it's culturally appropriate, I'm not against the idea of a monarchy. Actually, I'm for monarchy. Actually, I'm a Jacobite. I'm for monarchy where it's culturally appropriate. meaning like in a place like Britain, which monarchy is culturally appropriate. America's a republic, and I don't think it's culturally appropriate to have a monarchy here. So, yeah, it just that kind of thing out. So, absolute monarchy, not the best idea because most of the time you're not going to have the best people, and you need an institutional check upon the power other than just simply revolt risk going too high. But we're going to end the episode here, not the live stream. We're going to keep going with that, but the episode, we're going to end that here. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I know I say that too much, and I'm going to be saying it in just a moment so we start a new one, but thanks everyone for watching. See you next time. Okay, well, I'm going to be right back, and we will be continuing this. I hope you'll hang around. Let's see if we can get you sort of a pretty picture to look at. There we go. All right, let's get back to this. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4 with Black Ice, and of course we're playing as Britain. Now, before we get started on that, I know you've heard me say this too many times, so we'll make it quick. Please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and you don't know how much sharing the videos help. And a note, I know this will be shown way after. Well, I am going to be playing War Thunder Sundays, and start time for the live streams, both for this and the War Thunder live stream Saturdays and Sundays, has been pushed back by 2 hours later than previously. So, Short Sutherland, nice flying boat. Not the best, but a nice one. Okay, so we got some flying boats for anti-submarine patrol. That's good. Supermarine Spitfire. We're looking at. I have to wait for some better. We don't need to do the Defiance Interceptor, I don't think. Now, do get the Typhoon and well, Mosquito. Okay, way down here. Now that's 44. Yeah, we don't really have a good. Well, Blenheim Night Fighter. That would be a long-range fighter, but sort of specialty. Okay. We could do the swordfish. That'd be a good one. Put our carrier bomber over to that. And maybe we'll do a carrier fighter next. I demand new plenums. We'll see about that, but not just yet. Okay, well, into the Spanish Civil War. A little early, but not by much. How's the war in China doing? Oh, and a note to everybody watching now. I will be streaming War Thunder Sunday, but only on Twitch, not on YouTube. That'll be a Twitch-only stream. So we'll make an announcement on YouTube so people know that it's happening. Okay, tankettes. Right, okay. I'm actually liking the way they've done the companies. Because well, I can't even see them with this here. Coming over and like specifying we're going to do, focus heavily, which I often do on infrastructure and whatnot, is a little unbalancing, I think, to the game. Or a lot unbalancing to the game. Well, research, we haven't researched this one. Or this one, gasoline engine too. We'll do this. I like this. I like that there's some flexibility and that there's some all-purpose ones and whatnot. Because if you give this many research slots and you allow focus in like just a few areas like infrastructure and technology, and then like pouring it all into panzers or tanks or whatever, and really sort of not focusing on air and maybe ground troops, you can really unbalance some situations. But by going, hey, yeah, you're Britain, you can do a bunch of techs, a bunch of slots, and some of them are going to be just for naval, and some of them are going to be just for tanks and not for anything else or whatnot. Development in Australia, very good. And housing. Okay, so because we're gonna push, we want to get to Commonwealth knowledge is where we're going. But we're also trying to get our colonies in better shape. Okay, well, we're in 39, so that means we can start here. Where do we want to start here? 67 days. Yeah, we can get this going. War is coming, and I always feel with this, with things, and that it's, I want to get more national focus, more research done. Zog submits to Italy. Good night, Azads. Thanks for showing up. Do appreciate it. Well, I guess the real question is, what do we need here? Cruiser tanks, we're getting some, not a lot, but they're cranking out more and more. fighter bombers. Or we don't have an extra factory for that. That may be what we need to do. I know we put some more fighters. Okay, well we can go to tank at the Lloyd carrier there. And we'll get this. We'll later switch over to the swordfish once we get enough there. Now I was thinking about what invest in construction research. Gain one research slot for, yeah, we'll do that. I think that's a permanent one. I hope it is. Okay. Good. This is just what we need. Yep, dispersed industry right now. Very good. I'm still undecided about whether we should go to France or not. Very undecided about that. These are our territorial divisions. I think they're going to stay mostly in Britain. We'll move them all down here. Hopefully that won't overstress the supply situation. Yeah, I hear you on that. That may be the better idea. Okay, let's look to see. We could do an electoral campaign which will increase conservative support. Consumer 90 days. Let's do that. Withdraw support. No, we're going to keep assisting China. Okay. How are we doing just on basic weapons? Okay, infantry equipment, 4,000. We could do more infantry equipment. Crank up them Enfield rifles. Vendette and Dark would even be greater. Now, I don't think... Yeah, that's particularly weak. The tank regiment. Matilda 1s. And light Mark 6s. We are building cruiser tanks, I believe, yes. 49 of them. Fate of Czechoslovakia. Okay. So they've grabbed up the rest of Czechoslovakia and still haven't given that over to Hungary yet. Japanese army bases. And Sharon. Okay, let's... Yeah, we want to get the improved, just civilian and all buildings plus 3%, civilian factories plus 3%. So I guess civilian factories would get plus 6%, where military factories would get a negative 3%, which would be balanced out with the all building speed of plus 3%, I guess. Where if we come over here, we're looking at civilian and military factory speed down by 5%, but up production efficiency. Yeah, we'll go with that. Those that we have produce low manpower. Okay. 1 year draft. We have barely enough. But we can't do that yet. Okay, so we're still at 1 year draft. We could go to here. Okay, I think we'll leave that here now, because we're Britain. Yeah, guys, I think Norway is, if we can, is where we should try to hold out. Okay. Yeah, there's the light tanks. Okay, so we have these divisions. Okay, this is, you know, a mechanized division here. It has, I think, full equipment. All right. Okay, so it has full equipment, has light tanks. Well, I don't know how well these function in game, but that's just a 50 caliber and a 30 caliber machine gun armed on these vehicles, so they don't even have a cannon. Desert Support Company, that's nice. Now, is this a locked? Division? No, don't think so. Okay, if we were to add a cruiser tank to that 5, we have 9. So we could do this. I think it's 50 cruiser tanks per, because we have one in training and one there. Yep, we'll do it. We'll do it. Okay. Now, let's check out here. Its equipment, it's... Is it down the bottom now, or where is... Yeah, cruiser tanks 50, that's right. 50 per, because... And so we have enough to man that, but not enough to man this, but we'll be getting more in there. Okay. Tank brigade is still this thing here. Light tanks, infantry tanks. Armored division number 1. Yeah, that was sort of the thing I didn't think we would be able to equip just yet. Infantry tanks, cruiser tanks, light tanks. Right. Okay, what, yeah, I do not know the best way to do this. To get into Norway, I think it's, I quite honestly think probably just to be ready. Um, okay, that looks like a reasonable template. Yes, I do sort of go off of what. No, I don't want you. No, 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 no. You, not you. You are this guy home army. Is that right? No, this guy here. There we go. Put these, and again, I hate this color. I hate this color. Come on, come on. There we go. I hate this color. I know these are a lot very similar, but we'll do this. These guys are going to go to North Africa, I think. Montgomery. Yeah, Richie, we'll do that. Okay. Everybody to Cardiff, and then we'll put you on. I think this is going to be my Norway Relief Force. I'm going to move you up to Hull, I think, now. I know we just went down to here, but send you up there. Restrictions on Bulgaria lifted. German rights claims a memo. You guys, we're going to follow Arno's advice. So if it all goes wrong, it'll be Arno's fault. We're going to try to have some military force down here. At minimum hold. I don't know if it'll be strong enough, the white paper. The unrest of the Arab revolt has prompted the mandatory Palestine. Mandatory Palestine. Yeah, I guess. Mandated Palestine. Palestine to ask us to approve the white paper policy calling for limiting Jewish immigrations into Palestine and preventing the sale of land from Arab to Jews. The white paper also stipulates the creation of a Jewish state within the next 10 years. Due to these new limitations, the Zionist community is outraged. Meanwhile, the Arab leadership, contrary to our expectations, is split on the issue. Amin al-Hassani, I think he's the guy who goes to Nazi Germany, is the only major supporter from the Arab Committee for the new policy. The League of Nations has also refused offer of support. We're gonna go unhistorical here, and we must protect the Jewish people. We're gonna go unhistorical. The Dutch are all wrong in history. Just wrong-uns. Italy pursues closer bonds with Germany. Yeah, good job, Italy. Go, get close up, buddy with Germany. That's your best play there. Best play, yeah. Okay, are we importing fuel? No, good. How are our radar constructions going? Fairly well, good. Should we do one out here in the desert? Back at Alexandria. No, we can't build in Alexandria because of the stupid fucking rules of this game that piss me off. Improved worker safety, very nice. Well, New Zealand relieves, okay. Gasoline engines. Okay, supply grace, army fuel capacity. Well, what do we need more of sooner? Maybe new carrier fighters, carrier CAS. Okay, Gladiator. Gloucester Gladiator. Okay, well, where's the Gloucester Gladiator that I have to prerequisite for this? So I don't really want to be stuck with hugely outdated. Here, oh, we even have a 30% off. Okay. Research time, so we'll get that going here. Now, we are going to push for Commonwealth knowledge because I want to get the research center slot. I know it's 70 days and whatnot, and we're getting here. Ready to build in the West Indies. I don't know that. What would we build out there? Am I missing something? Going to build in the West Indies. I don't know that I need to build out in the West Indies. Don't have a good. Where are we back here? No, we're supposed to be over here. Okay, 39. We can do the Matilda and improve our infantry tanks. And we can come over here and fighter detection. I think we're going to maybe pursue better fighter models right now. Regional anti-aircraft defense. I don't know that I want to put out in Fiji, Samoa, one anti-aircraft. Nice, but I don't think I need to do that. Okay, so we have a lot of political support, or political power right now, I should say. Chief of the Air Force. Okay, air experience gain. We can't do him yet. Guess we've already replaced him. Air accidents chance, which is probably not. We'll go with Searle there. Factories. Well, I don't know that I need factories out here. I'm hoping not to be bombed too badly. Okay, what is updated here? Equipment still right. Okay. Oh yes, we want to go over to the swordfish. Actually, yes, we do. Okay, just how many cruiser tanks a day are we building? We're building 2.5 a week. That doesn't seem like very good production rate. At least not to me. Well, why not? Okay. Now we have a like 40% infrastructure, which increases speed of build production for a factory there. Where we're out here, we have a 20%. So factories, however much the infrastructure level, and it does affect some, will get built faster, better in a more built up area. So I want to concentrate forces there. And we can't build, so let's put one in the Midlands here. See, they should have Singapore as direct British and not part of anything else. That way we could build things like radar there. That would be a good sort of compromise. Okay, got 2 more infantry divisions. Yeah, we'll send them out. To Africa. Oh, we got some free dockyards. What just got built? Okay, a light cruiser looks like, I guess. No, I think it was a... Oh, the carrier. And a battleship. Great. Okay, so we got a carrier and battleship built. Now... let's see here. Let's put on another mine-laying cruiser, because they are functional in other areas as well. And we have a lot of mine-laying submarines. Let's do... leader class destroyers for anti-submarine work. You're asking about Okay. Okay, yeah, here, this is mechanized equipment. It does say Lloyd Carrier. And this is tankettes. 2. And this one is driving east. So this vehicle drives east, and this vehicle drives west. And it has some little writing on it. Yeah, I did notice that too. And what? Let's just, oh, well, let's go into a general purpose one so we can see everything. This comes under Lloyd Carrier here for tankette. And then we're going to get to Bren carriers. And then we come over here, is it? Or... oh, is it? I'm not sure, because they're two different... I'm not quite sure. One represents something else over somewhere. But yeah, there are two different things. Yeah, the East version is meant for Russia. That could be. Yeah, it's not your bad. As you can tell, I'm not even quite sure what the other thing is, or is it just, let's come over and look for production here. Yeah, here, this is just your mechanized equipment here. This slot, I guess you research it somewhere of other places where the image here is for your tankette 2. So I guess that's, again, we'll use the universal slot. Yeah, it's just 1939 Lloyd Carrier mechanized equipment versus trucks or whatever else. So yeah, it's a bit screwy for sure. But hey, you're at least paying attention and noticing things. That's cool. I think to the point they just didn't have... I like a lot of what Black Ice is doing. I'm rather upset of what they've done about China, it seems. And I'm afraid it's going to be the same rage quit in Russia, either in this series or the next one. But I think they go a little too far on some of their equipment choices. Podcat once joked when we, and including myself, was pushing for more detail on production things, like maybe the idea of, oh, I don't know, producing uniforms or other sorts of equipment, and where they just infantry equipment, so we don't need anything more than that. And he joked, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do a DLC, the Quartermaster's edition, production of buttons will be added to the game. So, you have to, do you make Bakelite, it's an early form of plastic buttons? Do you do cloth buttons? Do you do metal buttons on your uniform? Or do you have fancier, better plastic buttons on your uniforms? Yeah, you can go too detailed on this stuff. You really can. And at times I'm thinking, I think we want to come down here for torpedo screen penalties, spotting chance, I don't know. We've done that. Do we want to do screen attack? Yeah, we'll do this. Hello, LP. How you doing? Hey, OCB. Going well. Okay, so infantry equipment, 3,000 units. Okay, we have 3,000 units, and we don't have nearly as much infantry equipment, so we're gonna shift that down. Medical logistics, engineer maintenance. See, well, I don't know. I think some of their stuff is artificial. Oh, pause. I thought I was paused. We must mount a rescue operation. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know if I care enough about him to mount a rescue. Okay, support equipment. I guess that's okay. 4,000. We have a lot of that, so let's reduce that down. Infantry equipment, I think. Recon equipment. We might be able to reduce that down, or maybe if there's only one factory product. Oh, we're gonna go way down on that. We're gonna keep that in production. I'm not sure. Motorcycles, we're producing 8 a day. We got 2,000. Okay. Motorcycles, yes, I think. And part of what I did want to do was get some of these in production and up until get them efficient. So then, okay, light vehicles, Humber, Scout's car, light vehicles. Okay, yeah, we can. Okay, we're going to at least do that. How are we doing with light and heavy and artillery? Okay, mountain artillery, okay, light, reasonably good, heavy, okay. So, I think we can throw on maybe another heavy artillery. Sort of kind of think we don't have enough fighters. I do sort of want to, okay, click that off, okay, get. Just looking at, well, you all know my love of seaplanes for this, so let's do that, at least get some in production. Blenheim light bombers. Okay, we'll do some Blenheim light bombers. Arno, we got those into production. Hello, Hungarian noble. How you doing? Well, we're currently producing multi-role Hawker Hurricanes and Spitfires. The older stuff that is, there's some tactical, and I switched one over and whatnot. But yeah, sort of my mistake. These guys are carrier base. We're trying to improve those. So yeah, we need some carrier fighters and bombers. Okay, well. Visual recovery rate, that's important. They all look very damn useful. We have a limited number of them. We're gonna do recovery rate. That's a good one to check. Coastal artillery. We got 72. We could probably stop that. Well, or at least go down to 1 there. How many factories and Spitfires? Yeah. Oh, we need more aluminum. Okay, aluminum now with all the extra planes being produced. Oh, who do we want to build up? Canada, I think. There we go. No, we want to be in our army focus. We have this cavalry division here. Then go with these guys. Okay, Gloucester Gladiator. Okay, select all. Let's head out here. We'll figure things out once we get out there. Okay, well, I think we need to do some basic improvements like infantry weapons. Iran problem. With the current situation with Germany, we cannot allow any wrinkles in the Middle East, although officially neutral King Raza has repeatedly dealt with the Germans. They need to capitalize some words here and continues to support, oppose our influence. What should we do? Demand they expel all German businesses. There's no reason to bother them. Okay. Hello, Sebastian. How you doing? Yeah, I don't know that I'll be able to defend the coastline. Let's add a unit here. I don't know that. I suspect I won't be able to get to Norway until the Germans have invaded. So I don't think maybe there's some national focus that I can get them in, but I have a suspicion that that won't be allowed early. That's just my suspicion here. Probably reasonably good. Mountain warfare. Yeah, we'll do this, I guess. Okay, so we've got that. I don't think we're going to push. Oh, develop South Africa. Yeah. Let's look around at some of the other options. Expand mule tracks in Bhutan. Mediterranean Bastion. That's maybe where we need to focus next. No further appeasement. Ready the Commonwealth. 70 days requires duty to. Fortify East Asia if we have the time. I mean, it'd be nice to get naval dockyards in Singapore and Hong Kong, and some of that stuff would be nice. But we have time. Well, I don't know if we have enough time, but we have time before that should explode. See, industrial effort, that would be really nice. Tube alloys, okay, for nuclear development. Air defense adds maximum. Yeah, that would be nice. I think we'll go with that. Nah. The other area I'm worried about is Mediterranean, fortify the rock. Yeah, develop Ireland. Ireland's not in the faction. Secure Iraq. Secure Iran. Fortify Malta would be nice. Protect Suez. Kickstart war industry. No further appeasement. Kickstart the war industry. Secure oil imports. That would be really nice. $70 days. Yeah, we'll do this. Radar, yeah, radar is a good investment too. Yeah. We do have current radar is this. So see that the French have some. We didn't know they had any radar, but okay. So we have some radars coming out of here, and I thought, or are we still building it in? Yeah, we're still building it in Malta. So that's our radar picture. Yeah. Goering wasn't the worst leader they could have for the Luftwaffe, but he was out of date and eventually out of touch with what was going on. Oh, lovely. We're getting lots and lots of attrition out here. Okay, everyone. Take the train back to Alexandria. Okay, that isn't so good. Maybe there's some national focuses to improve the attrition out here. Or maybe just a few fewer divisions. Because probably the Egyptian army is affecting our attrition levels. Yeah, well, okay. For, you know, coastal forts and whatever. That's what I was looking at. Mediterranean base bastion here, which will fortify Alexandria a little bit, and then you have fortify Malta here as sort of a way to go. Sort of what I'm looking at. Now, yes, I can build fortifications, you know, conventionally, but do I really want to give up production of, you know, just without even checking, we're going to do more destroyers. You know, military factories at this point. I do not know for sure. What is better to spend time on? The limited levels we have. We want to do wood gasifiers. Reduce it. Yeah, I guess so. Oh yeah, we want to defend the colonies. Now we have done the national focuses here. So I spent a lot of time developing Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Okay, Marian Résistance sends an Enigma machine to the Allies. Very good. We can do that and develop the Raj here. We haven't done South Africa yet just because, well, not enough time to get, but we wanted to get the research center. So Australia and New Zealand now have a chance to actually build some stuff. The Raj a bit better and a bit better for Canada as well. I just see these looming dates over here. Okay, well, we're going to end the episode, not the live stream, so you guys can just hang loose, but I want to thank you all for making it this far into the episode. Really do appreciate that. If you've made it here, of course, hit that like button. See you next time for more, yes, even more Hearts of Iron. Okay, I'll be back, and then we will make another episode. Let's leave you with a reasonably nice picture to look at, but I'll be right back. Right, almost back. Let me just check a couple of things here before we get started. Okay. There we go. Just adjust my chair a bit here and bump the microphone. That's all good. And the world is spinning around in circles, but hey, what's new about that? All right. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4 with Black Ice, and of course we're playing as Britain in this series. And I just want to thank all of you watching. I really do appreciate everyone who watches the channel. I still find it surprising so many people want to watch me play these games. Okay, so let's see. This is the 39 row. New Blenheims, I don't know. Okay, what I think we're going to do is come over here and disperse fighting. We'll do that. Okay, we've almost caught up on our cruiser tank needs. We're getting a little better for carrier bombers. Root infantry equipment, very nice. Okay, so mostly what they were doing, I would say, with some of the later models, what are that's the jungle carbine. This rifle number 4 Mark 1, I think, really is just a manufacturing simplification slash rationalization. The Enfield is such an evolutionary weapon, and there's a lot of sort of unnecessary elements to the production of it. So, yeah, I don't know that they really get any better in fighting. In the jungle carbine, I don't know if any of you have ever shot one. There's a lot of recoil for a very light weapon, and which makes shooting it not as fun as other weapons. So I don't know that it's an improvement. Now, it's an improvement carrying it around. And now, real soldiers, not guys like me who go to the range and shoot, but real soldiers, they got to carry that weapon around all the time, and then once in a while shoot it. So carrying it is maybe a more important metric than the shooting impact of it. And so, yeah, in a hot jungle environment where you're going to have relatively close ranges, yeah, the jungle carbine makes sense, but I don't know that it's a combat improvement outside of that. Okay, I want a lot more tanks. Are we producing any infantry tanks? No, apparently not. Okay, well, let's put the Matilda into production then. Got the cruiser. We're going to switch over to the Matilda 2 once we get it. Yeah, production of it. Yeah, France, you're just going to be on your own. We have too few of them, man. Grand assault, very nice. Operational support, we won't do this. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, beam sun, that's where I was going to, yeah. Yeah, but you're right about carry a weapon more often, but I'm trying, because I've shot a bunch of Enfields as well as other bolt action rifles. I don't know that if wandering around Europe, and of course sometimes you're mad dashing from one bit of cover to the next bit of cover and all of that. I don't know, really going down to the jungle carbine is a good idea for the cartridge that you're shooting. And of course Britain doesn't think it's a good idea either. That's because the jungle carbine's much more of a Australian thing for fighting in the jungles. And they want to go to a much lighter cartridge, but the Americans sort of forced them to go to 308, which is more powerful. I forget what the British cartridge was. I got a box of it somewhere. That was basically adopted by almost nobody. But they wanted to go down to a much lighter cartridge. So I don't know that it's really that much of an improvement. Okay, Operation Ultra, yes. Bletchley Park, we're going to do that. That should do. Now I know we're not really playing because we had one of our guys capture Cypher, close, risky. We lost somebody, I think. So M16 in jungle, not optimal. Too light a bullet. No, I disagree with you. I'm fairly knowledgeable with firearms. I've read a lot on the different fighting campaigns. I remember reading about, I think it was a Marine in Vietnam that was with, his platoon, and he was sort of the one guy in the platoon that had a M14, or like everybody else in his Marine platoon had a M16. And they would sort of, call him, get him when, as they're sort of fighting. Whenever there was like a VC behind a thick tree, and these are fairly thick teak or whatever hardwood trees that are in Vietnam, and he'd just sort of crawl up, move up, whatever, and start putting a few rounds right center mass in the tree once it was identified to him where the VC was, and you'd see a VC fall over because the M14, the 308, would go through it where the M16s that they were mostly in cover wouldn't. And so that tells me that most of the time the M16 is doing just fine. I've read a lot of people that think the M1 carbine is too lightweight for proper combat service. Some of them are, at least one of the references I know, mainly the guy fought in the Italian campaign as some sort of special warfare type soldier, and thought the M1 carbine was just too lightweight, so he carried an M1 Garand. And I think a lot of the engagement ranges are enough distance that the M1 carbine is a bit light. Now, the M1 carbine is designed as a replacement for the pistol, not the battle rifle. Now, they end up using it as a battle rifle, particularly the paratroopers, who also carried M1 Garands as a main weapon too. And there were a lot of soldiers who really liked the M1 carbine because it was the assault rifle of its day for the U.S. Armed Forces. So so engagement types. And then I've read a lot about the M1 carbine used in places like El Salvador fairly favorably. I don't know that it's too light. It just doesn't have that sort of hard knockdown power. And it's a slightly heavier, bigger bullet going much slower than the 223. No, I think on balance, because you have the sort of two options. Well, I guess three options. You have a battle rifle cartridge, something like 308, 30-06. And that's fine, and that's good, and that's appropriate. But for the assault rifle, you determine that you need assault rifles for multiple reasons, but one of them is ammunition carrying a loadout. And you have two basic options as far as I can understand it. Is a lower powered, slightly lighter, but same basic diameter as the battle cartridge option. That would be what the Germans did with the 7.92 Kurz round that they did for the Sturmgewehr. It's basically the same bullet that's coming out of that gun. It might be a slightly shorter bullet, but the same diameter of bullet coming out of that as the German World War I and World War II rifle caliber ammunition, machine gun ammunition. Same bullet, just less powder behind it. Or the Soviet Kalashnikov 7.62 by 39 instead of 7.62 by 54. So you've reduced the cartridge size, same bullet coming out, so the bullet's coming out slower. So it has a greater arc as you shoot out. And as explained by some point blank range is, like if all these people are here, if you have a high arc and if you shoot, you may hit this guy, but it go over the heads of these two guys and then hit this woman out here. That's something like you more like with a pistol or something at sort of longish ranges. But point blank means that when you shoot, you can shoot here and it would hit all these people. Now, some of the people it would hit, say, in the chest, and then because the bullet would arc up, I mean, I don't mean go through all these people, but I mean if they're all sort of spaced out, it would arc up a little bit and maybe do some headshots and then come back down and hit lower abdomen. But you don't have to like adjust your aim for the height of the person. That's the idea of point blank. And so a World War I or World War II rifle, a battle rifle as I and many come to call it, has a very long point blank range, meaning you don't really, for a standing soldier that you're hitting, torso, and I'm not talking about hitting legs, but hitting the torso, sort of the head, you have a point blank. Now, so like if there's just a head peeking over the trench out at 100, 150 yards, yeah, you got to pay attention to the, to your range, because you hold a little high or hold a little low or whatever, because you only have such a small target. But if you're talking about a guy standing out there, you've got 150, 200 yard or more point blank range, meaning you just pointed at the person and you're going to hit them so long as you're basically on target and they haven't moved. You're going to, that's a lot of stuff that could go wrong, trust me. But it just, you can hold center mass on it and shoot the person. You don't have to pay attention to range. Once you're starting to get into the AK-45 ammo, you start having to pay attention to that range. Now, with the U.S. wanted to do was a light, fast bullet to have a very flat trajectory. And so they wanted that point blank range to be out there a lot longer. And that's the other way to do it, because 223 is just a 22 caliber bullet. Now it's a longer bullet, and it has a proper copper jacket on it compared to like a 22 long rifle light bullet. I know I'm going in the weeds for a lot of people, but so it's a really high velocity round. Now, once it starts hitting serious obstacles, and it is actually designed to become unstable once it does that. Because of Geneva Conventions and other ideas, they don't want to do hollow points. So they don't want the bullet to deform, but they want to cause a big wound cavity. So they want, as it hits, they want that bullet to become unstable and tumble. Well, if it hits, probably not a light leaf. Now, some, elephant grass and some other heavy jungle materials and leaves in Vietnam are getting fairly heavy, so that will start things to tumble. But a light leaf really isn't going to do what we're talking about, really deflect the path of the bullet or slow it down in any significant amounts. Trust me, standing behind a simple little bush, and even like 30 feet behind a simple little bush, isn't going to materially affect shooting through it. So if you have like a standard garden hedge and there's somebody 30 feet behind it and you know where to shoot, it's still going to go through and hit the person. Even if it hits a few branches or whatever, not going to zing off in wacky directions. But enough of that. In the jungle, some of the jungle environments, film, video, photos, yeah, I can see it definitely deflecting / slowing it down without hitting something solid, like I earlier mentioned, a teak tree. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm personally, and I know, again, we're in the weeds and off topic, but I understand about military logistics. Trust me, I do. And I understand the desire of armies, and particularly the U.S. Army, of having a simplistic supply chain, because mostly, particularly the U.S., but other nations like Britain, often fight very far from home. Hell, fighting in Vietnam, fighting in Afghanistan, fighting in Syria, fighting in Iraq. We're not fighting in, the Texas-Mexico border or somewhere, like Germany is, Yeah, it's fighting along its border. Now, its border may be extending into Russia, but they're just putting, at the factory, they're loading ammunition onto a train, and the train goes all the way out here and unloads it somewhere. So, yeah, it may drive a bit further than its close borders, but it's not like putting it on a train, taking it to a port, unloading it from the train, putting it on a ship, taking it on a ship, getting into a port, unloading it in there, put it on a train, go somewhere, take it off the train, put it on a truck drives to the front, then someone at the front picks it up and runs it to the ammunition. You see a lot more steps involved in shipping stuff overseas. So I get the simplistic logic. But because we found, and the U.S. Army has always agreed upon it, that you need something like the .308 caliber round, whether it's 30-06, .308, or maybe they come up with something that's for somehow new or better to replace it. You need that for your machine guns, because machine guns have certain capabilities that you need to have. One of them's range, one of them is a certain amount of penetration through other obstacles, sandbags. They want 2 to 4 foot thick sandbags for a proper U.S. Army bunker, not just like a side angle. If you're laying like bricks, one layer of sandbags that's half a foot to a foot thick. No, they want 2 to 4 feet thick of sandbags to stop a proper cartridge. They want to have that kind of penetration on their machine gun rounds. So if you're supplying machine gun rounds to your troops in fairly large numbers, it isn't that much more difficult to supply rifle cartridge rounds that are the same. And the only real difference is does the ammunition come on linked belts to go through a machine gun like an M60 or Browning 30 caliber machine gun or whatever, or does it come in a box that they're on a stripper clip to quickly load them into a magazine? Well, if you're running around in battalion strength and larger, you can have a little hand cranked machine that quickly does the link belts, or delinks it, turn it the other way so you run a belt through it, and it pulls the ammunition out, and you got rifle ammunition, or you're turning it into machine gun ammunition. So having a .308 rifles mixed in with .223 rifles and light squad automatic machine guns, I think is the best solution. And I think it comes down to a ratio. In some areas like Afghanistan, where your engagement ranges are going to be a bit longer, you're mostly fighting mechanized forces in that most of the U.S. forces are closely supported by MRAPs or other vehicles that you can stick a lot of ammo on, and it's just a 200-300 yard run to go pick up more ammo. It's not a 2-day hike back to wherever to pick up ammo. And you have longer engagement ranges, I think, because of a lot of open fields and a lot of heavy mud brick walls that people can use as cover for 223. Having a higher ratio of .308 rifles, higher ratio, but still have the M16 or M4 carbine, the modern M4, is probably better. Move to a close environment, somewhere like Vietnam, somewhere like if they start operating more heavily in the Philippines, go to a much more higher ratio for the M4 carbine over the M6 over the M14. So I really see it's sort of that's the best solution, because you have, whether it's immediate volume of fire, the M4 carbine is just a 3-shot burst weapon because of poor training, particularly in Vietnam. But, blam, 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 because you can do that, with 3-shot burst, just pop those off to really do quick fire suppression, or simply boom, 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 wait 5 minutes, boom, boom, with 223, and make your ammo last. You're doing, at sort of at a range, you're firing well-aimed shots, but you can carry more ammo. Where you're going to run dry with the 308s because you just can't carry as much effectively, because you also have to carry your food, your water, your flak vests, all your rest of your gear, your shovel, because you want to be able to entrench yourself. So you're carrying all that stuff. So you're going to carry a little less ammo for sure when you're talking about 308. And so those guys are going to, if they fire at the same rate of bullet shooting, as a 223 guy, they're going to run out of ammo sooner. So there's good reason for having the M4 carbine and 223 in all the environments, in the wide open deserts and flat plains of Russia, to the most dense jungles or urban combat. Because again, like urban combat, in Afghanistan, where it's real primitive buildings outside of the couple of cities that are big, thick adobe buildings, probably your 308s aren't even going to go through a lot of those walls. But you get into a more modern urban city like Baghdad became, your 308 will just punch through the damn wall. You see a lot of the videos coming out of Syria, of the Syrian civil war, and you look at the sort of town sections, because sometimes it's literally like a quarter of the town has become bombed all to hell, because that's sort of the rebels were. You look at the rebels' bunkers when they're going in there. They're going into a regular sort of residential building there and building a bunker inside of a building, and partially to hide where it is, because from the outside it looks like any other apartment in the apartment building or whatever, but they've got the 2 to 4 feet thick of sandbags and extra beams over the top of it in case they start firing some tank rounds into the building and start bits and pieces start to collapse down on top of them. And so they build in nice little bunkers where and when they can. That will stop the 308, but otherwise, 308 is, they're in that room. Boom, 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 boom. Let me just sort of shoot the wall. Now, I'm not, because they may be laying on the floor, they may be, just missing because you don't know where they are in the room, but you can start putting rounds through the wall that the 223 won't. But the 223, because it's smaller, lighter, is better to do the room clearing. Actually, once you throw, whether it's a flashbang or a grenade into the room, and then burst in there, you're going to do it better with a 223 rifle, quicker, faster, more maneuverable than you are with a 308. So I would move the ratio, out in the desert fighting, and there's, especially like in here, we say desert, but there's lots of green areas, but there's also lots of desert, and then there's lots of open areas within thick green areas nearby. So you want that range to shoot the 200-300 yards, to put fire suppressive, onto the enemy, to shoot into areas where you have limited, flashes of people, muzzle flashes that you're seeing of the enemy, even in the daylight, to put fire on them. You want the 308 more of them than you do in the city, but you still want some of them in the city. So, and I'm still all calculating in the idea of both the squad automatic, a 223 light machine gun, and a platoon or, heavier proper machine gun automatic, because those, even if you're out in the open, they're doing their job. They're suppressing, but there's probably more muzzle flashes, and the gunner who's shooting at the muzzle flashes over here didn't see the muzzle flashes over here, so the other riflemen that are capable a little bit longer range are shooting at other targets. So it all comes into play, and it's, trust me, I understand, none of us are, Sergeant York, other than Sergeant York, who's able to snap off all kinds of rifle shots and just hit people extremely well. So a mix is the right environment, is the right thing. And so suppression is very valid, and whether it's suppression of a machine gun, and that sort of impacting in your wherever, downrange, and everyone's going for cover, but even the thump, thump, thump coming in nearby of the 308 versus the 223. And I don't want to say this in any sort of, because it wasn't really a dangerous situation. But I've been downrange behind protective cover, because you can go to some rifle ranges that, there's a sort of a bunker kind of thing that you walk below and they raise the targets up, kind of thing you've seen in some of the older movies, and some of the other stuff where I've been downrange. So they weren't like shooting at me, they couldn't even see me, and they knew that there were people down there, but sort of downrange where the impact is, because I have not been in combat. And I know we have some viewers who have been in combat, but I've been in conditions where I've had like 223 bullets and 308 bullets impacting very nearby me and/or passing by me, within feet of my head, within 4 or 5 feet of my head. So I'm hearing the bullets come nearby me. Again, I felt safe because I was well in a protected area, but bullets coming around, and you can readily tell the difference between some 223 that are snapping by you and that are deadly, but if you have a bit of protection, versus the heavier impact. Now, I've never been near. I would love to be protected but nearby to hear and feel what an impact of a 50 cal round, because I've definitely been nearby 50 cals going downrange, behind the machine gun or the 50 caliber rifle, the sniper rifles. And those are very impressive compared to regular rifles and machine guns and pistols. Very, very impressive going out. I would love to sort of get the, non-lethal, non-dangerous experience downrange, just to sort of to know what the impact is with the 50 comparatively to a 30 caliber, whatever machine guns. But I think it's very impactful difference, very much so. So again, warfare is a political activity. Politics is, in many large ways, impression. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Didn't get enough sleep last night. Perception. Politics is perception, and so the perception of the dangerousness of your position in warfare, because most people aren't, Japanese soldiers that are been psyched up enough to die, or suicide jihadis. So the perception of the danger of your situation is how much you're willing to put yourself out there to take the combat and not run away. Is all very important. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know it. Okay, you know how to feel the bullets going over your head. And now also partially what I'm saying is that I've been near different calibers of bullets coming in at similar times, so I was able to compare them. Where sometimes, at least, and this is one thing that, trust me, I'm not dismissing soldiers' experiences of their service, but a lot of soldiers, at least that I've talked to, a lot of them, have just experienced, say, what they have through their training. Meaning, in the U.S., it's just like, oh yeah, 223 and 308. Or whatever. But now, of course, there's lots that now have served in Iraq and Afghanistan that have been shot at by 7.62 by 39, 7.62 by 54R, and so they've been shot at by the different bullets themselves, as well as maybe Deshkas and other things that can compare maybe a bit better than I can. But where I've done a large variety of shooting of a lot of different guns. Now, of course, there's a lot of people, and again, and I don't want to make too much of my experience, but it's definitely in the one, at least from probably the worldwide, but U.S. perspective, in the top 1 percentile of gun experience. There's now that 1%. That means there's more than 1 million other people that have equal to or better experience than I have in America, but it's my experience is fairly extensive with firearms and guns and all that stuff. And that's where I can talk about with, well, at least I think with a lot of knowledge and experience compared to artillery. I've been around, I remember as a kid, I don't know, I was definitely younger than 10, going onto a Marine base and being in an automobile nearby, and I guess they were probably 105s going off, and man, that scared the shit out of me. I mean, I didn't literally poop myself, but man, I remember as a kid, and I was young. I don't remember exactly how young. My dad might be able to tell me how young it was because he was there. When they, oh, cool, they're going to shoot the big guns, great. So he'd take me to the base, and we were in the car sort of watching, not that close, but not that far away. And those things, I dropped to the floor of the car, and I was a young kid. And those guns going off, and the shock wave coming through the car, oh God, that really scared the hell out of me as a young kid. And I wanted to be there. I wanted to see it. So oh shit. So that's about the closest I've been to any live fire of artillery that one time that I can remember. Yeah, it's close. Now I've been near blank fire a lot. There's like the 1 o'clock gun at Edinburgh Castle goes off at 1 o'clock, and one of the reasons they explain why they do it at 1 o'clock instead of 12 o'clock, they get to fire the gun just once because they don't have to fire it 12 times to signify 12. So they fire it at 1 o'clock every day. 1 o'clock, boom, fire the gun at Edinburgh Castle, and it's a British 25 pounder that's all spiffied up. Some parts of it have chrome plating and whatnot, and it's just they're firing a blank charge out of their 25 pounder every day at 1 o'clock, and I've been within fairly close feet of it, but it sure the hell wasn't like the 105 that I was as a kid, and I was much closer. So it's a much less powerful charge, and that's obviously not even projecting anything but a little paper wadding out the end. So most people, a lot of soldiers have, and I was really young when that happened, but yeah. So okay. I remember one night in a bivouac waking up to a battery opening up in the middle of the night. We didn't know their location nearby. Yeah. So yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm sure there's lots of soldiers that have experienced that, but just being a kid, that was, and I'm sure, because it was all like, it was in, it was Camp Pendleton Marine Base down here in, sort of Oceanside, California is where that event happened in my life as a kid. My dad spent a career as a civilian working for the Navy, so he had pass and access to get onto naval bases, and took me down there one time. Took me down a few times, but one time they were getting ready to do live fires, and it was where military and civilian vehicles on the roadside could pass by, however close that was, and I could remember seeing it as a kid. And the reason I sort of remember it was quite damn young is because once going off, and I was like, boom, boom, and I'd go down cowering on the floor of it. So it was fairly close by, and they were shooting, I think it was live fire. It was live fire in that they're firing, the blue dummy, real solid metal projectiles going down range, but no explosive filler to them. Okay, paratrooper breaks through nylon, paratrooper cost. Improved power grid, efficiency of the base. Okay, modify steel mill output by 1. Yeah, we'll do that. So things like that, and tank gunfire, I have not been around a lot. I've seen a lot on television, but after seeing not Hollywood with sound effects, but actual people firing real guns on, like can go see Forgotten Weapons or see an arsenal, and hearing it versus being next to the actual guns being fired a lot, you don't get the impact of even a rifle round or pistol round on video that you do in being there in real life. And trust me, I've shot tens of thousands of rounds through pistol caliber weapons, and thousands, if not tens of thousands, of proper rifle. I mean, because we say, grew up shooting 22 caliber, rifles. that definitely, because that's pistol caliber. But yeah, I've shot well more, probably well more than 30,000 rounds. Yeah, 1,000 rounds, 30 times. Yeah, well more than 30,000 22 caliber rounds. That sounds like a lot. It does sitting here, but figuring all the years shooting like 200-300 rounds in a weekend, yeah, I've shot a lot of 22 in my life. So none of that with hearing protection. So yeah, I've shot a lot of that kind of stuff, and then a lot less 308 and 30-06 and 762 by 39 and 762 by 54R and 7.92. Oh yeah, I've shot a lot of that stuff. Oh, cool. Carl Gustav, cool. I've seen videos of those. Oh yeah, oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, I've seen videos of that. Justifying war against us. Why is Germany justifying war against us? I don't know. Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, especially since they're just going to invade Poland and then be at war with us. Well, I think at that note, Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact and my stories about my childhood, we're going to end this episode here. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for liking. I really do, like I said earlier. I know this hasn't been a terribly long episode, but thanks all for watching. I really do appreciate you guys here. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron. Okay, guys, I think we're going to end the live stream today. I again want to thank you. Tomorrow I will be on Twitch only streaming War Thunder with some of the usual crew. Hope you guys will join it. I will put up a little quick notification video while I'm live on YouTube to try to pull some of you people over there. No, continue. Yeah, I know we started a bit late. We're stopping maybe an hour early, but I'm tired and my voice is starting to give out a bit, Arno. So thank you for the encouragement. I do appreciate it, but I think we'll end this here. And hopefully I'll be ready to go by tomorrow. So thanks, everybody.